Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since I have posted anything. I have just been very sick and battling with some intense health issues, and then after being treated, it just took a while for me to really recover, but I am back now and I hope to be back regularly. Today we are going to color in some portraits I did of some of my favorite artists, and we'll just talk about them and what I love about these artists and their music. So let's get into it. So first I'm going to color in Demi Lovato's portrait, and Demi Lovato is like one of those people who I've just followed ever since they really started like becoming famous. So we're talking like Disney Channel days with Camp Rock and all that stuff. I like I am sometimes sheepish to like talk about that because like I don't know, Disney Channel and Camp Rock can be very cringy. But yeah, I remember falling in love with Demi Lovato and their sound because at that moment there weren't like a ton of like kind of punk rockish type singers from Disney Channel, and the only other one was what was it, Jonas Brothers, which I mean they did Camp Rock too, and to have a girl do rock, especially as well as she did, and like she also was one of those the only other Disney Channel artists that actually had a good singing voice. I feel like a lot of them had to really strain their voice or like really be auto-tuned, but Demi Lovato always had like a powerhouse of a sound, and that was just, I don't know, there just wasn't much to not love about Demi Lovato. And to this day, I still listen to the songs from their first album, which is what makes me really excited about them going back to like that punk rock sound and just exploring that again with their new album that they're going to come out with in August or September. I can't remember at this moment. But like their single that they just came out, Skin of My Teeth, something like that. Oh wow, I feel like a really bad fan for not remembering the exact title of that song, but gosh, it was so good, and it was living all of my childhood like girl emo fan like dreams. So but yeah, Demi's always been like this artist that I've really enjoyed following. I think too, one of the things that I really liked about Demi was that they were very open about their struggles with eating disorders and depression and their addiction. And while like addiction is not something I struggled with ever in my life, the eating disorder and the depression is. And as a teenager, struggling with those things, seeing someone who I admired and followed very closely, it was really cool to see someone, especially from Disney Channel, where everybody's like super perfect. It was really cool to see someone, a celebrity, be very open about that and kind of how they were trying to overcome it. And that's what I continue to admire about Demi, is that they try to be open about the things that they're going through, and not try to hide. I mean, obviously they try to be private because those are private things, and especially being in the spotlight, I'm sure that's like super hard. I can't imagine like trying to recover from my depression and my eating disorder and having that be displayed and criticized every moment of every day on media. But yeah, but that's like one of the things I really like about Demi, and it just makes them very relatable. Yeah, there's not really an album that I don't love from Demi. There's like one that I was not like, one or two that I was like, that wasn't their best. I know for sure I'm not a huge fan of like their third studio album. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the one with Skyscraper, which was really the only song on there that I loved. Otherwise, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was like their best work, but Demi just has one of those voices that is just very powerful, and I just enjoy listening to her music a lot, and I have a lot of her songs saved on my Spotify playlist. So this next artist I'm doing is Adele, and just like Demi, and next I'll be doing Taylor Swift. Adele is just like one of those artists that I've been listening to ever since they first came out, and which was when I was a teenager. And so these are just ones that I have just loved for a really long time and continue to love. And for multiple reasons, I think one of the really cool things about these artists is that their music always seems to, like, as I go through life and then they release something, they always have something, whether it's their whole album or like several songs that just like really relate to my life situations or the things that I'm currently feeling, and that's just like really cool for me, just to have that kind of relationship with the music that they create, and also just makes it to where I just never like get tired of them. I think maybe that only happened once with like Demi Lovato. She came out with one album that I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But otherwise, like all their albums, I've always loved them, and there was always something that just I really, really connected with on a deeper level. And that's how it's been with Adele, especially, with her last album that she came out with back in January. And I just had that album on repeat for weeks. I think I already said that. I might have already said that. But yeah, it was very raw and emotional, and just touched on several things that I was also feeling at that time. And Adele is just one of those powerhouses that I probably will never get tired of, and will always enjoy hearing. One day I really hope, all these artists, I really hope I can see live, but Adele is probably one that I would love seeing live, because her voice is just one that you have to really experience in person, just from what I've seen from live videos, but not that I have seen her live. But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about Adele. I think Adele's really just speaks for herself, and I don't know many people who don't like her, so. So next is Taylor Swift, and I have always loved Taylor Swift, even if I have never or have not always admitted that I liked Taylor Swift. Because it definitely was like, everybody loved Taylor Swift, and I went through this era where I was like, oh, forget popular music, and just really wanted to go against the grain. And it just seemed like the uncool thing to like Taylor Swift. But secretly, I listened to my Taylor Swift all the time. And cried and sang along and jammed out to it in private. But now I'm like not ashamed to admit that I really like Taylor Swift. I have loved all of her music, with the exception of Reputation. That was like a weird era, but I realized the other day that I never honestly gave it a chance. I was just like, whoa, Taylor Swift, like, stop trying to be gangster, because you're not. But I decided I would give it a chance, and I actually listened through the album the other day, and it's still like not my favorite album, but it definitely has some like really good hits to it. And again, even though it was like a much different sound, it was like an edgier sound than her past albums. It's still a really good, solid album. It's still very much Taylor Swift. And yeah, so Reputation, not like the best, but it was still good. But definitely, there goes my phone. Definitely my favorite was Folklore and Willow. Her last like 2 albums. Those were so amazing. And I just loved the folk sound, the Americana, just kind of like minimalistic type sound. And I just felt like it really suited Taylor Swift and her voice. And I hope that she continues doing that, after she's done re-recording her previous albums. But I don't know. She's always evolving. She's a really, really great businesswoman. So she will probably surprise us with something else. But I will probably always have Willow and Folklore as my favorite of her albums. There's like not a song on those albums that I don't like. And usually with the other ones, there are at least a few that I don't like. But I absolutely love those last 2 albums, and I'm excited to see whatever she'll do next. She probably is going to be re-recording albums for quite a while, so I might not see anything new for some time. So next I'm doing MXM Tune, and that's like her stage name, obviously. Her real name is Maya. I believe that's how you say it. And she's an artist actually I started listening to in the past year, I believe. So she's a very recent addition, but I've really enjoyed her music. It's just more on like the chill, calm side. I mean, she has some like good, like dance music, like more upbeat. I don't know if I would say dance music, but more upbeat songs, that like, I don't know, I could jam out to in my car. But they're mostly like on the chill end. And yeah, I've been really enjoying her music. I don't have a ton to say about her because she is like a fairly new addition to my well-loved artists on my Spotify list. But I would totally recommend checking out her music. My favorite albums, I mean, she doesn't have like a ton out, but out of her albums, like On Masquerade, Prom Dress is a really good song. Dawn and Dusk is probably one that I like the most from. Songs like Fever Dream and Lessons and Bon Iver, Show and Tell. You see, like all those songs on that album I really enjoy. So I would highly recommend that album. And then she just came out with a album called Rising, and that was a really fun album. Sad Disco is probably her most popular song from that one. So I don't know. Those are some that you can like start off with as you're looking into this artist. And yeah, you're welcome. So while I'm finishing up this portrait, I just wanted to note that so most of the music I use in this video is from the League of Legends creator-free, royalty-free playlist. But the opening and ending music that I have is actually made by my cool and talented husband, who I've talked about a little bit in my last video, I think. Yeah, you should definitely check out his channel. I will put the link in the description for his channel. But yeah, I'm really grateful that he finally had time to make me an opener and a closing sequence. I'm just really happy with how it turned out. So this is Kimber. Kimber is a New Zealand-based artist, I think. I first discovered her back when she had a duet with Gill, with someone that I used to know, which everybody is familiar with. And somebody was like, oh, if you like that song, maybe try out Kimber, like look her up and see her own music. And I was like, okay. So I looked it up, and the first song that I heard was Settle Down, and to this day I completely adore that song. I remember having that on repeat when I was a teenager, like all the time. And for some reason I just forgot about her for some time. And recently I was like trying to just find some new music to listen to, because I was kind of getting tired with my music, and I wanted to listen to something that was a little different from the mainstream and had a more creative sound. And Kimber came back up, and I was like, oh hey, I remember her. And I started listening to her newer albums, and I was like, oh my gosh, she is just so good. Like, she just isn't someone who confines herself to a genre. She's very like, she explores a lot. She's kind of experimental, but like not too much to where it like sounds funky. Like, it's, you could still like enjoy it if you like mainstream music. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you don't know who Kimber is, start off with her first album, Vows. It's a solid album and a great display of her talent and skill. And then my other favorite is her most recent, Primal Heart. It's just, I think I have that whole album just loved on my Spotify liked playlist. But yeah, Kimber, solid, look her up, definitely worth a listen. So next is Aurora, and I saved this one specifically for last because she is my all-time favorite artist that I discovered through Frozen, oddly enough. She is the mystical, mysterious voice that Elsa hears, that leads her into her journey. And I saw her name listed in Into the Unknown. And since she was like titled as Aurora in all caps, I was like, this seems like a stage name. Like maybe she's like an established artist. So I looked her up out of curiosity. And as soon as I heard the first song, I fell in love. She has like this tribal, ethereal, experimental, fairy, fantasy, otherworldly, I might have already said that, like sound. Like she's just, I have not heard another artist like her. I can find other artists that maybe are a little similar, but she's definitely very, very unique. And all of her music is just very meaningful. And just, I don't know, like not every artist needs to do like music that has like a deep meaning to it, but it's cool when they do. And I think because of that, and maybe just because of her sound, like there's not a song that she has that I don't love. Like I don't even know where to begin when people say like, oh, okay, what song do you recommend? I'm like, I don't know, because I love all of them. But I will say though, she has like 2 songs that became popular for a little bit. One of her older songs, Runaway, became really popular on TikTok for a moment for some reason. I don't know why, because it like is a much older song. But like last year it became really big on TikTok. And then Cure for Me, which did come out last year, also was big on TikTok for a little bit. And is a nice upbeat song that it sounds a little bit more on the mainstream side. So those might be 2 to start off with, but I would definitely give her other music a try. She's just so, it's just very unique and lovely. And I could just gush for her forever. I hope one day I can go to one of her concerts. I've seen videos of her live performances, and she's just like a mystical fairy when she performs. And she was actually going to be here in Texas earlier this year, but I was still very sick whenever she announced her tour and that she would be here in Texas. And I just didn't think I could commit to something that I didn't know if I could attend because of my physical state. And it ended up working out because, whenever she was going to be here, I had my surgery to treat my condition, and I would have not been in a state to attend. But one day I will go, and I will thoroughly enjoy it. So here I'm going to show you some before and afters of the finished product. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me color these portraits as well as listening to me gush about my favorite artists. Let me know in the comments if there are songs from these artists that you love, and let me know what your favorite artists are. I'm always looking for new music to listen to. I'm open to like all genres, so let me know and I can discover new music, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!